The string lights cast a warm golden glow over our front yard as my daughter Emma carefully arranged the last of the gingerbread cookies on the dessert table. It was the evening of our neighborhood's annual Christmas party, and after 2 years of cancellations due to pandemic, everyone was eager to celebrate together again. Dad, do you think people will actually come this year? Emma asked, her breath forming little clouds in the crisp December air. I'm sure they will, sweetheart, I said, adjusting the speakers we'd set up under the pergola. Mrs. Chin already texted that she's bringing her famous hot chocolate, and the Johnsons said they wouldn't miss it for the world. My wife, Sarah, emerged from the house, carrying a tray of appetizers, our son Michael trailing behind her with napkins. We'd spent weeks planning this gathering, obtaining all the necessary permits from the city, which as mayor, I knew were completely in order. The party was scheduled from 6 to 10 p.m., well within our local noise ordinance limits, and we'd even hired a police officer for traffic control since we expected about 50 neighbors to attend. By 6:30, our cul-de-sac was alive with laughter and holiday cheer. Children ran around with candy canes, while adults clustered in groups, sharing stories and sipping mulled wine. The scent of roasted chestnuts mixed with pine from the nearby trees, and someone had started a carol sing-along that had everyone humming. That's when I saw her. Linda Hoffmeister marched down the street like a general approaching enemy territory. She was the self-appointed president of our HOA, though dictator might have been more accurate. For the past 5 years, she'd made it her personal mission to cite every minor violation in the neighborhood, from mailboxes that were half an inch too tall to garbage cans left out 20 minutes past collection time. Excuse me. Excuse me. Linda's voice cut through the festive atmosphere like a buzzsaw through butter. She was wearing what I come to think of as her enforcement outfit, a severe gray pantsuit with a clipboard clutched to her chest like a shield. The music seemed to dim as heads turned in her direction. This is completely unacceptable, Linda announced, her voice dripping with indignation. This party is in direct violation of HOA Regulations subsection 14.3, paragraph B, which clearly states that neighborhood gatherings require approval from the HOA board at least 30 days in advance. Sarah stepped forward, her smile diplomatic but firm. Linda, we did submit the paperwork. 6 weeks ago, actually. We never heard back from you. That's because it was improperly filed, Linda snapped, flipping through papers on her clipboard. You used the old form from 2021. We updated the forms in January. This party needs to be shut down immediately. Emma tugged on my sleeve, her eyes wide with concern. I squeezed her hand reassuringly. Linda, I said, keeping my tone even, we have all the proper city permits. Everything is legal and by the book. The city has nothing to do with this. She shot back, her face reddening. This is an HOA matter. And as HOA president, I'm ordering you to end this party within 15 minutes or face a $500 fine. Per hour. A murmur rippled through the crowd. Mrs. Chin looked devastated, her hot chocolate station abandoned. The Johnson kids had stopped mid-snowball fight, sensing the tension. Linda, please, Sarah said. It's Christmas. Everyone's been looking forward to this. Can't we just... Rules are rules, Linda interrupted. If I make exceptions for you, I'd have to make them for everyone. Where would it end? Chaos, that's where. She turned to address the crowd, raising her voice. As of this moment, this gathering is officially disbanded. Anyone who remains after 15 minutes will also be subject to fines. That's when Officer Martinez, the policeman we'd hired for traffic control, walked over. Is there a problem here? Linda's eyes lit up with vindication. Yes, officer. This party is illegal. I need you to clear everyone out immediately. Officer Martinez looked confused. Illegal? I don't think so, ma'am. They have all the proper permits. I checked on myself when I arrived. I don't care about city permits, Linda said, her voice rising to a shrill pitch. This is an HOA violation, and I'm calling the real police to have everyone removed for trespassing and disturbing the peace. She pulled out her phone, but I gently held up my hand. Linda, before you make that call, there's something you should know. She glared at me. What? That you think you're above the rules because you've lived here longer than me? That you have friends in City Hall? Actually, I said calmly, I am the City Hall. Or part of it, anyway. I'm Mayor Richardson. We met at the City Council meeting last month when you complained about the new stop sign on Maple Street. The color drained from Linda's face faster than snow melting in July. You're what? The mayor, I repeated, which is why I'm very familiar with both city ordinances and the actual legal standing of HOA regulations. Did you know that HOA rules cannot supersede city permits? And that threatening to fine residents for legally permitted activities could actually open the HOA up to liability? Linda's mouth opened and closed like a fish out of water. Her clipboard drooped in her hands. Officer Martinez coughed, clearly trying not to smile. The mayor's right, ma'am. This party has every legal right to continue until 10 p.m. as permitted. But the HOA rules, Linda stammered. Our guidelines are community standards. I said, not unkindly. They're not laws, Linda, and they definitely don't override official city permits. I'd be happy to sit down with you and the HOA board after the holidays to review which regulations are actually enforceable. I think you'll find that most of your recent citations wouldn't hold up to legal scrutiny. Sarah, ever the peacemaker, stepped forward with a cup of hot chocolate. Linda, why don't you stay? We have plenty of food, and Mrs. Chen's hot chocolate is absolutely amazing. For a long moment, Linda stood frozen. Her earlier confidence completely evaporated. Then, slowly, she took the offered cup, her hands trembling slightly. I suppose I may have been overzealous, she muttered, barely audible. We all want what's best for the neighborhood, I said, but sometimes that means bending a little, especially during the holidays. What do you say we start fresh after New Year's? Linda nodded, still looking shell-shocked, as she retreated to a quiet corner with her hot chocolate. The party gradually resumed its festive energy. The music swelled. Children resumed their playing, and the adults returned to their conversations, though I noticed more than a few amused glances in Linda's direction. Later that evening, as we were cleaning up, Emma hugged me tight. Dad, that was so cool. You didn't yell or anything, but you still won. It's not about winning, honey, I said, ruffling her hair. It's about standing up for what's right while still treating people with respect, even when they're being difficult. As I looked around at our happy neighbors, their faces glowing in the twinkling lights, I knew this was what community was really about. Not rigid rules and citations, but coming together, especially during the season of goodwill. And judging by the way Linda quietly slipped away an hour later with a plate of cookies and a small smile, maybe she was starting to understand that too.